Welcome everyone, I'm here with the handicapper Dave Golakov. So Dave, I hope you're doing great. Tell us about the game between the Broncos and the Bulldogs. Why are the Bulldogs that big of an underdog? Do they have what it takes to win this game?
Well, they're a pretty big underdog because they just haven't been a good team this season. If you take a look at what Fresno State's done, I mean, this is a team that last year was about a play or two away from playing in the BCS, playing for one of the BCS bowls. Now all of a sudden, this is a team that couldn't compete with USC, couldn't compete with Utah, Nebraska too. This is just a team that's really fallen off the map. And when you look at Fresno State, they're a really big underdog because of that. Lost to UNLV as well. So this team is just not nearly as good as they were last year. Obviously, Carr's gone, Devontae Adams is gone. That explosive offense is not there. This team is a shadow of their former selves. However, in this particular matchup, I think they'll actually have a shot to win. I don't think they'll get it done, but I think this contest is going to be more even than people think.
You mentioned in your article that the Broncos were great last season. What changed for this season?
Well, the Broncos, in many ways, not exactly the same, but in many ways they're similar to Fresno State in the fact that this team, used to be a BCS, fringe BCS contender. Last year and the year before, this has kind of been a two-year decline for them. Typically, they're the best team in the conference. They're competing for it. Last year fell off a little bit. This year falling off some more. Chris Peterson, they're just not as talented, not as sharp, and on top of that, sort of, a little bit in the rebuilding process that kind of started a couple of years ago. They haven't really got back to that level. And of course, losing the head coach doesn't help. So this team is not fantastic themselves. Again, like Fresno State, they're typically a contender in this conference to win it each year. But right now, they just look like a shadow of their former selves.
Interesting information. And what's your pick for this game?
Well, I think that Boise State wins this game, but I like Fresno State with the points. I think that when you take a look at Boise State, 17.5 is just a little bit too much to lay with a team that just, you can't really trust them to cover this big of a number against many teams. This is not the same Boise State team that would get into the 50s on a weekly basis in terms of points scored. I just recall their loss a couple weeks ago at Air Force, where this team just looked unfocused, very weak. And now all of a sudden they play Fresno State and they've got to cover more than 3 scores. I think that's a little bit too much for them. This is still a rivalry game. These are still teams that know each other very well. I think it's going to be a fiery contest, and I would take Fresno State plus the points. Even though Fresno State's been garbage this year, Boise State just hasn't had that focus, I think, to cover a number like this. So I'm going to take the points here.
Perfect, there you have it. Thanks for your time, Dave. And this is Sylvia for SBR Picks.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.